All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to ANC3C's May public meeting of 2024. We will get started by establishing a quorum. So 3C08, are you here?
Here.
3C07,
Present.
3C06, it's not here yet. 3C05. Or did
Present.
3C04?
Present.
3C03 is me, and I am here. 3C02?
Here.
3C01?
Also here.
Excellent. So I don't know if anybody has seen Commissioner Gordon arrive yet, but we do have 7
Commissioner
of 8.
Gordon said she would be 10 minutes late.
Okay, cool. So we do have 7 of 8 commissioners present at this time, and therefore a quorum being present, we can get started with the verification of notice. I can verify that this meeting was noticed to the listservs through Cleveland Park Main Streets, Woodley Park Main Streets, the community associations, the ANC3C notice list on Twitter and on ANC3C's website. We will now move on to the approval of the agenda and the consent calendar. Now, we have had a few changes to the agenda, including one that came in at approximately 11:20 this morning, that the Executive Office of the Mayor informed us that the acting director of DDOT, Director Kirschenbaum, would not be attending our meeting this evening because they will not be able to answer questions before the June 3rd meeting, which I'm hoping Commissioner Siddiqui is posting into the chat.
I'll post it.
He's excellent at that. So we had intended to have mayor's budget brief by the acting director of DDOT this evening. However, since she was no longer wanting or able to attend, we are striking that from the agenda under the presentations item. So there's that. Additionally, we are adding and have added via the notice, renotice and update of this meeting, a letter. This is going under the commission's regular business, a letter regarding BZA appeal number 21082 Wardman Park. There was a BZA hearing on this last Wednesday, where closing statements were asked of all the parties involved, and the ANC3C is a party in this and is going to be providing a closing statement regarding this case. Does anyone have any other changes to the agenda that they'd like to make at this time? Other items, the items that are on the consent calendar that would be approved with us voting to approve this agenda would be the approval of the April 2024 minutes, a resolution in support regarding ABCA application for the vinery at 3404 Connecticut Avenue Northwest Suite 3, a resolution in support regarding BZA application 21-118 2850 27th Street Northwest to construct a 2-story side addition and convert a principal dwelling unit in existing semi-detached 3-story apartment house in the RA2 zone, a resolution in support regarding BZA application 21-125 at 2400 Tilden Street Northwest to raise an existing accessory garage and construct a new 2-story detached accessory building to an existing detached 3-story with cellar principal dwelling unit in the R1A/FH zone, and a resolution in support regarding HPRB application 24283 at 3206 Roland Place Northwest, in addition and exterior alteration. So, anyone have any changes, any further changes? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the agenda moving forward this evening and all the items on consent calendar, please raise your hand and or say aye. I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 commissioners hands up with 1 being absent. So that passes and we will move along with the agenda as amended this evening. Thank you all. We will start with announcements. Does anyone have any single member district announcements they'd like to make this evening? Commissioner Siddiqui.
Just like to know that a lot of residents have been emailing me about the Macklin construction and the status. Last I heard was about a month ago that they were switching phases. I have not heard anything since, and I've reached out to the developer to ask if there's any updates. As soon as there are any updates, I will be updating via my newsletter. And if you can always email me again. But at this point, I do not have a response or any update.
Thank you. Any other single member updates this month? I will be reaching out to our lovely Moker about rat problems again at 3000 Connecticut. So I know that Matthew is just thrilled about this. We've gone down this hole in the past, rat holes, apparently. And I'm hoping, so I know there's a few constituents that emailed me about that and I just haven't had time to respond or loop Matthew in on this yet, but I will be. We are here for all your rat service needs, and the commissioners throughout the city actually got invited to a full 2-day rat camp in July. So I plan on attending to learn from world-class rodent control people. So there's that. That's my single member update. Anyone else have a single member update? Commissioner Geis.
Yeah, similarly, Rat City over here. I've heard from the owners of many of the Woodley Park East commercial district owners. Similarly, I'll be in touch with you, Matthew, about this. And they're looking for some kind of letter to district agencies. So we might have that for the agenda for next month. That's all for me.
Great. Thank you. All right, so seeing no other single member district reports, we'll move on to committee reports, starting with safe, sustainable, and equitable transportation.
Thank you, Chair Paggets. As a reminder, because I know there's some people on here that specially attended because the acting director of DDOT was supposed to show up. They canceled that. What can we do? So, but there is a meeting on June 3rd regarding Connecticut Avenue. I'm pasting that in the chat again for those of you who can join. And because of these recent developments, I imagine once we hear on June 3rd what the meeting is about, we would likely discuss it in our transportation committee meeting. So we will be holding a transportation committee meeting on June 12th, Wednesday at 7 p.m. So that's the bad news. The good news is that one of the resolutions we had passed in February regarding areas on Metro buses for strollers and those in wheelchairs, Metro actually rolled out a trial for that on certain buses. The one that's closest to at least my SMD is the H4. So if you get on some of the H4 buses, you will see extra spaces for strollers and also wheelchair users. Really want to thank the Transportation Committee, especially Naiwa Duan, who led the effort in drafting that resolution and asking WMATA to implement that. So thank you.
Thank you. And I enjoyed your pun of rolling out the stroller spaces.
That was not deliberate, but I'm glad you noticed.
The Transparency and Public Process Committee.
We do not have an update.
Okay. Community engagement and grants.
Yes, we had a meeting to consider the grant, which we'll consider later in this meeting, to the Woodland-Normanstone Neighborhood Association, and it went well, and we had a good discussion. So you'll be hearing about the proposal, and hopefully we'll be voting on the resolution later.
Great, thank you. Planning, zoning, housing, and economic development. We did have a meeting earlier this month where we discussed a number of the BZA cases. And HPRB, actually that one might have been a residential housing, but we discussed the cases that were on the consent calendar and approved earlier in this meeting. Our next meeting would regularly be scheduled for June 3rd, and we obviously would not be counter programming the DDOT meeting that evening. So more to come on if we will be having a June Planning, Zoning, Housing, and Economic Development Committee meeting, and if that would be pushed to the following Monday, whereas usually we have it on the first Monday of every month. So stay tuned. Residential historic preservation.
We did have a meeting this past week, and one of the resolutions we approved were there. So far, I don't know, Commissioner Nash, if there are any applications that'll be moving from the previous one into the next one. But if so, we might need to pick a date other than June 3rd again, or start after the DDOT meeting.
I don't know whether there will be anything that moves to the next month. I don't believe HPRB is moving any of them, but we've got to find a date if we do.
Great. And just a note for the minutes, Commissioner Gordon has arrived. Okay. Environmental Justice Committee.
Yes, we met last Tuesday. We had a discussion with Lance Kramer, film producer and neighbor of ours here in 3C, about his film City of Trees. So that discussion will be available on YouTube. Our next meeting is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, June 11th, and more details about that forthcoming.
Excellent, thank you. Public safety.
Certainly. We're going to have a June Public Safety Committee meeting also the week of June the 10th, likely to be on the 10th of June. It's going to be a busy week for committee meetings. But at that meeting, we'll have the regular update from MPD, and we'll be posting the rest of the agenda along with the confirmed date, I expect within the next week.
Great, thank you. All right, moving on to announcements from the mayor's office. Matthew, what do you have for us this evening?
Hello, everyone. My name is Matthew Barclay. Swale will drop my information in the chat. Announcements would be the Connecticut Avenue Multimodal Safety Improvement Project. The purpose of the meeting is for DDOT to update the public on the current concept for the project. DDOT staff will be available to answer questions and gather comments. That'll be Monday, June 3rd, 6:30 to 8, and I think the link is already in the chat. This week, Mayor Bowser opened the district's second safe commercial corridor hub in the Anacostia neighborhood of Ward 8, following the February opening of the first hub in Chinatown. The safe commercial corridor hubs connect residents to a range of city services with a specific focus on working across government to keep corridors safe and clean. The hubs are staffed by outreach teams from multiple community relations, public safety, human services, and behavioral health agencies that are able to respond in real time to challenges in the community. And so far, they've been a great success. I staff those occasionally. Also, the Office of the State Superintendent of Education has published the first ever District K through adult social and emotional learning standards for all DC public and charter school students. The SEL standards aim to develop crucial skills that enable students to acquire and apply knowledge and attitudes necessary for a healthy identity, managing emotions, showing empathy, building relationships, and making responsible, caring decisions. So that's awesome. Also, crime trends. Homicides are down 22%. Assault with a dangerous weapon is down 29%. Violent crime is down 26% compared to this time last year. And overall crime is down 14%. So thank you all. And
great. Thank you. And just as a reminder, that June 3rd meeting is all virtual, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, and it would be good. Did you find out if DDOT staff or anyone was going to be answering questions live, or is that submitted into the portal and they'll get back to you or not?
I believe that they will be answering questions live.
Okay, great. Thank you for those clarifications. All right, moving on to the council member's office. Lauren, are you with us this evening and want to shout out?
Yes, hi y'all.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see here. So fiscal year 25 budget, they have had their first markup, and following 7 weeks of budget oversight hearings and markups, they'll hold their first vote on Wednesday, May 29th. As Councilmember Fruman considers the full budget package, he's working to ensure it invests equitably in prosperity, accountability, and opportunity. And he's focused on investments that support accessible pathways to the middle class and grow the district's economy, including through housing, education, which is key, and we've had a lot of advocacy on that, youth and senior services, and the environment. I shared a link that hopefully Commissioner Siddiqui will be sharing in the chat, where you can click to watch the debate on May 29th and hear how that conversation goes. I think there's going to be a lot of good discussion there. We also have our upcoming Workday in the Ward this Thursday from 8 a.m. to noon, and the council member will be there for the majority of the time. We will also have other agencies stopping by. We'll be at Politics and Prose on Connecticut Avenue, so mixing up a little bit from the normal restaurant to now a bookshop, which is like one of the neighborhood favorites. So our team will be joined by MPD, Department of Transportation, Washington Gas, and Matthew Barclay will be there. Department of Buildings will also be stopping by as well. So please note that the bookstore itself actually opens at 9, but you can enter the coffee shop from the parking lot behind Politics and Prose, because we will be there at 8 o'clock. So that again is this Thursday, May 23rd from 8 a.m. to 12 at Politics and Prose on Connecticut Avenue. And then we will also be at Senior Fest, which is coming up at Ward's 3 own UDC on May 29th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. There will be live dancing, entertainment, food, health resources, and more. So stop by to see our constituent services team, and please let the seniors in your SMDs know about this great opportunity to interact with district agencies and find out what resources are available to them, because that'll just, it's wonderful that it's accessible, it's in our ward, and we would love to get as many people out as possible to be made aware of these resources. So I think that is it on our end.
Great. And speaking of accessibility and getting people out to engage with agencies and resources, these work days in the wards have consistently been on like a Wednesday or Thursday, a weekday from 10 to 2. And that doesn't serve the the majority of residents. Is there any more like planning or something that allows for this opportunity for those folks that can't make it from 10 to 2 on a Wednesday?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that there need to be options, and that is something that we're looking at. They have historically been from 8 a.m., which is attempting to get a little bit at that pre-work. Yeah, I know it's not a great schedule, admittedly, but it is something we're looking at. We'd like to get the council member out more and in more frequent, more accessible hours, so that people who have different work schedules or children or other activities, that they can also attend. So absolutely well taken, and appreciate you giving that feedback.
Okay, great. Thank you. Would like to see more of it.
Agree. I mean, for me, it's some of my favorite time to get to see people in, where you live and where you're.
Totally. And I like to get to as many as I can too, but again, I have that pesky real job that's paying the bills that
that 9 to 5, right?
So yeah. Okay.
Understood. I understand. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Anyone from any other district agency here that wants to make an announcement? I don't see any other initials in the attendance block. Okay, we'll move on to community organizations. Cassandra from Cleveland Park Main Street, did you have anything you wanted to share this evening?
Oh, yes, I do, Janelle. We have a very packed calendar for the next few weeks. So thank you, Cassandra Hetherington, Director of Cleveland Park Main Street. And on this Thursday and on the lovely deck patio at Foundation Fitness, we have the Smith Jackson Bluegrass / folk band. Tickets are only $15. You can pay at the door, and it does include free wine. On the 4th Tuesday of every month, so that will be next Tuesday, May 28th. We have a stitch and sip at Paragon Tie. So people came last time and just knitted, embroidered, crocheted, whatever. It was really fun. So that's going to be a monthly thing now. On May 30th, which is a Thursday, we have our first of 3 night markets this summer. That will take place in the Cleveland Park Promenade from 5 to 9 p.m. I think we have either between 10 and 15 vendors, so that should be lots of fun. And then last but not least, on Sunday, June 2nd is Cleveland Park Day. The ANC is a partner organization with us for that event. And just a little bit of what is going to happen. We are having live music and performance in the Sam's Park and Shop, dance, line dancing, a balloon sculpting, free snow cones, skee ball, face painter, spin art. And you've all heard of a chili cook-off. We're having a curry cook-off. We have six entrants from various restaurants in Cleveland Park for curry cook-off. So you have to come, taste it, vote on your favorite. We've got a beer garden, a dunk tank that Janelle and Swale and Bob Ward are all going in, which I'm very excited about. And maybe one more guest, but I won't say anything yet until they have committed. We've got 25 vendors.
Okay, I'll do it.
Yay, Matthew, he was my secret surprise, number 4. He's going to the dunk tank. We've got 25 vendors in the promenade. We've got 7 or 8 community groups over by like all the way between the post office and Fresh Baguette. Grover Cleveland lookalike contest. And last but not least, hold on, a pet fashion show. And we have confirmed a chicken will be in the pet fashion show. So there is still plenty of time to sign up your pets. Go to clevelandparkday.com. It could be obviously a chicken. It could be a snake. It could be a bird. It could be seriously whatever your pet is. Unfortunately, my pet cannot participate because he growls at small children. So, but anyway, all of that.
Maggie is very excited to make her public debut, by the way, Cassandra.
Has she signed up yet?
She will be very shortly because her costume just came in.
So you can show up and day of and participate, but if the advantage to signing up beforehand is that 2 things. Number 1, the DJ will read your pet's bio from the stage. And the second thing is you will get a little container of homemade treats from Captain Cookie. All right. Thank you.
My dog attacks every other dog. So will the fashion show keep separation of dogs, or should I just not participate?
I think we should get your dog and my dog and do one of those dog fighting contests that are illegal in the alley behind.
This is being recorded. Please don't say that.
We will not do that. That was a joke. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, really looking forward to this event, and I appreciate the adjacency of the dunk tank to the Nanny O'Brien's beer tent.
Total coincidence, Janelle.
Yeah, I figured that was a little bit. And Matthew, I'm glad that you're joining our little cast of characters to entertain the community.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Cool. All right. Anything else? I don't believe I see Robert from Woodley Park Main Street, but I see Bob Ward has his hand up. And go ahead, Bob.
Hi, thanks. Looking forward to the dunk tank. The announcement is Cleveland Park Smart Growth is hosting Chuck Marone, who is the founder of Strong Towns. He will be speaking at the Cleveland Park Library on this Thursday, May 23rd, from 6 to 7:30 p.m., talking about housing. he and one of his colleagues at Strong Towns just wrote a new book, Escaping the Housing Trap. So Chuck Marone isn't a smart growth advocate. He doesn't like to be called a YIMBY, but he's got some pretty interesting ideas on housing. And if you're interested in that, we hope to see you at the lower level conference room on Thursday evening.
Great, thank you. Any other community organizations have any other announcements they'd like to make? Alrighty, seeing none, we can move on to next item in the agenda, which is the community forum, where members of the public are invited to ask questions and raise concerns about issues that are not otherwise on this agenda. Please limit your time to a minute or two. Does anyone have anything they'd like to bring up in the community forum? You can raise your virtual hand using the reactions button down at the bottom. Come on camera and raise your real hand. Or anything. I am not seeing any. So with that, we'll move on to commission business. And our first item on commission business is a resolution regarding a grant application by the Woodland-Normanstone Neighborhood Association for Normanstone Valley Invasive and Overgrowth Management. So Commissioner Kripke, do you want to take it away?
I'd be glad to. Thank you. So the resolution is to support a grant application from the Woodland-Normanstone Neighborhood Association. They've been doing great work in the neighborhood to maintain and clean up the public space around their neighborhood, especially around I think it's Fulton Street, where it dives down, that's become overgrown with invasive species. It's a really beautiful part of the neighborhood, great for dog walkers and runners and so forth, but risks becoming overgrown because partly because city maintenance isn't up to the task. If it's okay, I don't know if this is the right moment. I'd like to ask a representative from Woodland-Normanstone just to make a very quick presentation of the project and the application. Is that?
Yes, we'd be happy to. I'm Amy Weinstein. I'm the
Sorry. Can you actually move the resolution first so then we can get a second and then open it up for discussion and we won't have to go back and do that again? If you don't mind. Thank you.
I don't know the rules very well, so I appreciate your tutoring me, Commissioner. So I would like to move this resolution and ask for a second.
Second.
Oh.
Great. Thank you. Go ahead.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Could I possibly quickly share screen to show you all exactly where this is?
Yep, Amy, I just made you a co-host now, so you can see this share screen button in green at the bottom. Okay,
can you all see the map of your ANC?
Yes, excellent job in your graphics here.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm Amy Weinstein. I'm the Vice President of the Woodland-Normanstone Neighborhood Association. Our President, Marianne Steiner, is with us tonight, but she was diagnosed with COVID today. So she's just going to listen in. And I will read her short introduction. The Woodland-Normanstone Neighborhood Association represents a neighborhood of 140 homes. The neighborhood is situated in the southeastern part of Ward 3, tucked in behind the Omni Shoreham Hotel, and goes through to Massachusetts Avenue. Okay, This small, vibrant neighborhood is unique in that its borders were created by an act of Congress in 1910 to preserve the woodland nature of the neighborhood with a system of curvilinear streets. The act essentially kept us from having to put the street grid over this very hilly area of land. We have residents of all ages, from young families raising children to empty nesters to longtime residents who are now retired, and also from over 20 countries. Many of those are embassy families. In addition to the 140 homes, the neighborhood includes a section of Rock Creek Park you can see along the southwest edge of the neighborhood, with an urban forest and a wooded thoroughfare through the park that serves commuter traffic and also attracts walkers from all over the city. The Woodland-Normanstone Neighborhood Association is a 501c3 to promote the civic welfare and preserve and protect the natural environment created by the Act of Congress that established our borders. Over the last 35 years, the association has worked continuously to protect and enhance the integrity of the neighborhood and contribute to the health and vitality of the city. We invest thousands of dollars we raise each year to maintain the area and keep the woodlands healthy. And the association has long worked with our council member at ANC, DDOT and its urban forestry unit, DOEE, DPW, DC Water, National Park Service, and the Rock Creek Conservancy to preserve and enhance the natural beauty and safety of the public spaces within our boundaries that benefit residents across the area. As just a few examples over the years, this has included working with a local nonprofit, Casey Trees, and neighborhood volunteers to plant over 100 street trees on the occasion of the 100th anniversary of the creation of our neighborhood. As highlighted in our grant application, we work closely with our ANC and DDOT for over 7 years on a major renovation of the Normanstone Drive roadway and Fulton Street and stormwater management system of the major 3 commuter thoroughfares along Fulton, Normanstone, and along the section of Rock Creek Park. We've also brought our neighborhood volunteers together to plant 12,500 daffodils in this area over the past 5 years, all along Fulton Street and Normanstone Drive. But one thing we've learned in recent years is that DDOT and DOEE do not have maintenance budgets to care for the wooded area along Fulton and Normanstone. At the same time, since the start of the pandemic, we have seen a considerable increase in the population enjoying this environment. And this increased number has continued even after the pandemic has subsided. This led us to seek out the comprehensive maintenance plan described in our grant application to preserve and sustain the health of this area over time. We're grateful for your consideration to support this plan, and now I'll share highlights of the plan. As you can see on the screen, you can see the neighborhood. It's the part that's not grayed out. And the green line on the left side going downhill is Fulton Street between 34th and 32nd Street. And this is the area of the project that we're talking about tonight. 2 years ago, this is what Fulton Street looked like from 34th Street. On the left, what you can't see are stormwater management facilities that DDOT put in 2018 because they're completely overgrown with invasives. And you also can't see the sidewalk, nor could you walk on the sidewalk to move down into this beautiful neighborhood. Last fall, our neighborhood association hired shore landscape contractors to mow and weed and apply the right kind of herbicide to the area along Fulton Street. And on the left, you can see that work being done last fall. You can also see, because they unearthed some of the stormwater maintenance facilities, which are those black kind of cross ties that go down. And the purpose of those is to retain stormwater as it rolls down the hill from 34th Street and allow it to be absorbed into the land rather than flooding into the creek and eroding the banks of the creek. On the right, you can see that those bioswales, as we call them, have recently been planted. And that's because DC DOEE finally got some maintenance money from the city council to maintain some of the bioswales they have installed all across the city. Prior to last year, there was never any money to maintain them, only to install them. So you can see the new native plants the DOEE has planted. The arrows point to areas that we, a couple weeks later, planted daffodils. And then on the lower right, you see arrows pointing to the areas that Shore Landscaping, funded by us, are maintaining. So this spring, and this photograph, you can see some of the daffodils we planted last fall. And you also see the Shore crew out. And you can see that they are mowing and weeding and taking care of everything along Fulton Street, except for the stormwater facilities, because we promised DOEE that we wouldn't touch them. They have DOEE plants in them, And in return, they supported us in maintaining the area around their bioswales because it helps their bioswales stay clear of the weeds and continue to be functional. And that is my presentation. So let me unshare. There.
Okay. Thank you, Amy, for the presentation. I think it's quite clear and appreciate it. Do you have anything else, or should we
No.
go into it? Yeah. Thanks. Madam Chair, how should we proceed from here?
All right, so in the be it resolved clauses in the resolution, the ask from the ANC3C is a grant request for $3,483. And this is going to support an overall budget of $10,450 for the project. So, and also Amy, thank you and everybody who was helping put this together. Like I learned so much in the presentations that you gave to us about this area and the challenges and stuff, and how great and of potential it has to be if it's just if it's better maintained, right? So I think it's awesome that you guys are doing this work and have come to us for help with it, because it's great for our entire community, in my opinion. But I just wanted to make sure the commissioners were aware of how much the dollar amount was for this application, and then I think we open it up for discussion now. So, and unless Commissioner Kripke, do you have anything else that you wanted to add at this time?
No, I agree with your comments and open to discussion.
Great. Commissioner Siddiqui.
Yeah, I also want to thank you. Thank you for coming to our meeting and presenting on this twice. Really appreciate you doing this. Thank you, Commissioner Kripke, for leading them through this. And thank you for doing this for the community. This helps so many people and helps all of us, and we really appreciate you in all this effort you're putting in. I am in support of this, and I'm happy to, once it passes, or if it passes, I guess we haven't voted yet, but I'm in support of this, and I'm happy to help facilitate this through as treasurer. So happy to see what we need. Thank you.
Commissioner Nash.
I think you're on mute.
Ms. Weinstein, just great presentation, and thank you for everything that the Woodland-Normanstone organization is doing to support this. I mean, a great example of volunteerism and partnering with the city to make the community better for everybody. I fully support it. I just have a question really too, and maybe Commissioner Kripke can answer it first. Do we know how much is left in our grant budget for this current fiscal year, and how much have we granted this year, if anybody knows?
In answer to that, I believe the only grant we've made thus far is the earlier one for the Cleveland and Woodley Park villages. So our annual grant budget is around 12,000, so we've expended 5,000. So this will bring us up to close to 9,000.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, because the other bucket of like the Thanks for Cleveland Park Day to sponsor that and other sponsorships are under our expense budget and not our grant budget. And we still have room there, and we can always amend those too, is another thing.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. We have plenty of room. So even if we need to change our grant budget for this year, we're allowed to.
Thank you.
Cool. Any other commissioners with comments, questions? All right, anyone in the community have anything they would like to input into this conversation? You can raise your virtual hand or raise your real hand and we'll hopefully see you. All right, seeing none, I move that we move to take a vote on this. Oh,
Commissioner, I think I see one. Yeah.
Madeline, you want to go ahead, please?
Yeah, thank you. thank you for these presentations, and thank you for the seems to be wonderful work. I'm just thinking it would be good, and I don't know in what context, but it would be good to have a little bit more, sort of information to the wider community about the work that you're doing and the why and what it requires, because I can see other places where this kind of sort of neighborhood involvement to help maintain, especially with stormwaters and all that. So I'm not volunteering myself. I'm just thinking it would be good. It would be good to have more information available to the community so that, this can be repeated elsewhere, because it just seems to be just a wonderful, important work that you guys are doing. And frankly, even a budget of $10,000 doesn't seem to be outrageous to do this. So thank you so much for doing this, but I just thought it would be good to think broader. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. And as part of the ANC grant process, they will have to file a grant closeout report with us. So hopefully maybe that will provide some of those answers. And I believe we try to make those available on our website too. So, and I think that is a good way of, like, rather than reinventing the wheel with each of these projects, where folks can share experiences, ideas, and best practice. So thank you for bringing that up about sharing this, because we would like to make it a bit easier for others going forward to do something similar. So good job all around. Anyone else have anything they'd like to add before we move to a vote on this? Okay, seeing none.
I'd like to move to a vote.
Is there a second? All right,
Second.
Hayden seconded. All right, so this is a vote on a resolution to approve a grant of $3,483 to the Woodland-Normanstone Neighborhood Association for Community Beautification Project. All those in favor of approving this grant resolution and the grant, please raise your hand or say aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's all 8 commissioners. So there are no commissioners voting against it and no abstentions. This resolution passes and the grant application is approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, and thank you, Commissioner Kripke, for all your work with getting this together. I know how fun it can be, but appreciate it. All right, so moving on to our next item in the agenda. This is a consideration of a letter regarding the BZA, the Board of Zoning Adjustment Appeal number 21082, Wardman Park. And this letter is a closing statement of ANC3C. Commissioner Prinzo, you want to take this away? And just summarize the
Sure.
letter and what's going on there, and then move it, and we'll get a second and we'll move to discussion.
Yes.
Cool.
So this is a closing statement of ANC3C for the Wardman Park appeal. There is no new information that hasn't been in one of our previous 5 or 4 resolutions that we voted on this project. ANC3C is in support of this project. We have been since at least 2022 on record, and we continue to be in support of this project. I don't really have anything else that I would want to say now on it, so I will move it.
Okay, is there a second? Hayden,
Second.
Commissioner Geist has seconded.
And just before we go, I would like to comments. I'd like to thank Commissioner Pagets for representing the ANC in the almost 6-hour hearing during our workday. last week. It was very commendable, and I thank her for all of her support during this process, as well as all of the 7 other commissioners on this call right now.
Yeah, no problem. Absolutely. And just for some clarity's sake, there's a party appealing the building permit. So to stop the building from being built is essentially what's going on due to some nuanced zoning interpretations, which in our letter that Commissioner Stuckey is linked to in the chat, this property has been occupied by housing, whether it be hotel or residential, for over 100 years now. And of that size and scale of building is actually really a fascinating history of the property. And you learn that if you want to watch a 6-hour BCA recording.
And then just quickly, Commissioner Nash offered some amendments to some phrasing, and I accepted those. So I think they are in the document now, but
yes. All right.
We're good.
So we're going to open it up to discussion and questions or comments from commissioners and planning, zoning, housing, and economic development committee members as well, since they're familiar with the project, and we reached out and wanted their feedback on this too. Commissioner Stuckey.
So I just want to thank Commissioner Prinzo for writing this letter, Commissioner Pagets for you, again, representing the ANC at the meeting, and then Commissioner Nash for your edits. I thought they were really good. I just want to say I'm in support of the letter. And yeah, I don't think this site should allowed to be not under construction, not finished for such a long time. In my SMD, I already know what that feels like. So yes, I think we should move this letter and vote on it right away. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other commissioners or Commissioner Kripke?
Just to make, I support the letter. I just want to make a short comment that some of the objection to the project, I think that would derail the project, is at least nominally well-meaning about wanting to find more affordable housing in the district. And I think that's laudable, and we all agree with it. Although the point here is that I don't think this, number one, I don't think this tactic will work. Number two, it risks delaying and making a mess out of our community by delaying this project, which we've all been waiting for, and has been a hollow space in our community that we really need filled. So getting this project completed as quickly as possible, I think, is my goal. Getting some affordable housing into our community that wouldn't otherwise be there, and then looking for other opportunities is the goal. And I just don't think this is the right tactic. Okay.
Thank you. Yes, it would be providing 72 affordable units, which is far greater than 0. Kathy.
Good evening. Yeah, I'm Kathy Gibbons. I'm on the committee and had an opportunity to take an advanced look at the letter, and it actually prompted me to watch the hearing, which was a very lengthy hearing, and get a sense of whether there was merit to the concerns raised about whether the project actually should be entirely derailed. And I just was astonished that the request was for actually, overturning the building permits. But I thought, okay, let's hear it. The Department of Buildings was pretty unambiguous about, in fact, I think almost entirely unambiguous about their view that zoning regulations, applied and were satisfied. And my sense that as the prior, as Commissioner Kripke said, well-meaning people are trying to look to, some of these details and possibly find something that would really amount to leverage to get additional, affordable housing. it's a laudable effort in some ways, but the fact is that this project needs to be accomplished. And it has been a long time coming. The appropriate agencies have been hit. And I think that Commissioner Pagets did a really excellent job. If you have 5 minutes to cut through the 6 hours and see what Commissioner Pagets had to say, you'll enjoy that. And so I'm very, very pleased that we're weighing in. Thanks.
Thank you. And I'm sorry that you watched so much of that hearing, but some of it was really fascinating. I will say that if you're a huge nerd and really into zoning. So I appreciate that in the compliments. And again, I thank Commissioner Prinzo for leading the way on this. It was kind of a tag team thing where if one of us had to run off and do something for a real job, the other one had backup there. So it takes a village, I guess. And I really appreciate your comments there, Kathy. Commissioner Nash.
I agree with Kathy Gibbons. I think that looking at the arguments so far suggests to me at least that the Department of Buildings got it about right. You know, I realize that there are different views on this project. Many would have liked to have seen more affordable housing there. The city had an opportunity to consider purchasing the property, and for various reasons they didn't. And is it a perfect project? Perhaps not, but from what I can see, it does address elements of housing and affordable housing, or at least in the form of IZ. It addresses historic elements and it preserves green space, which I know is important to the community in that area. Moreover, the people who live around the project who have endured, you know, a long time now as the considerable bulk of the old Marriott Hotel has been demolished and are enduring construction now. And so I'm happy to support the letter.
Great, thank you. Any other commissioners or committee members have anything they want to input here at this time? Okay, seeing none. Any members of the community, specifically the ANC3C community, wish to comment or provide input at this time? You can raise your virtual hand or raise your hand. Robert.
Yes, thank you, Janelle. I just want to add my voice to everyone thanking you for the hard work on this on this project. We've lost 4 businesses in Woodley Park in the last 2 months, and I think all of us are trying to minimize the impact on the business community of the length of time it's taking to get that building back up. And the sooner that it's back up, the sooner that bleeding can stop. And so it's I think important for all of us, and especially for the business community, that this project go ahead. And so yeah, a very worthwhile 5 or 6 hours that you spent fighting there. And I hope the project moves ahead as planned.
Great, thank you. Again, Commissioner Prinzo does most of the work on this and has been dealing with the construction complaints on a day-to-day, and cannot be thanked enough for his ability to communicate with the community and have a really good relationship with the folks on site there to get responses to immediately to concerns that with the construction site. And yeah, nobody likes construction. I get that. Everybody gets that. But the ability to mitigate it by having that relationship and constantly you know, hearing from the community and communicating that and getting things solved it's admirable on Commissioner Prinzo's part, in addition to having to fight some paperwork battles. So I'm just here to support. All right, any other members of the community wish to say anything on this matter? All right, I move to call the question. Is there a second to take the vote on this? Commissioner Gaius again, because it's right across from your SMD. It makes sense. All right, so this vote is on approving a letter to be sent to the Board of Zoning Adjustment, BZA, on appeal number 21082 the Wardman Park and providing the closing statement of ANC3C. All those in favor of approving this letter, please raise your hand or say aye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 commissioners' hands are up. That's 8 yeses. There are 0 to vote no and 0 abstentions. So the vote is 8 to 0 to 0 to approve this letter to BZA. So thank you all, and thank you all for your comments, and thank you to anybody who read the case file, especially Kathy Gibbons and Commissioner Prinzo and I, who extensively spent hours.
I did learn that I was always under the impression that I lived 200 feet away from the construction site. I actually live 92 feet away from the construction site. So I did learn that.
Oh, that's interesting. It didn't matter though in the BZA appeal. Anyways, moving on.
No, I just thought it was interesting.
All right, so our next item is the treasurer's report.
Thank you. Mr. Bob Ward isn't here because every meeting he asks me for the total amount of money that we have in our accounts. So I had prepared that. As of 10 minutes ago, I would say, we have a total of $115,664 dollars and 34 cents in our account, with 29,216.71 in savings and 86,447.63 in our checking account. Just so that's the amount of money we have. We are also having one expenditure this month, which I will just cut a check for $2,934.09 for district bridges for Cleveland Park Day. And I just want you all to know that I have now uploaded all our financial information and our budgets to the new ANC treasurer system. They still have not uploaded past information, but our ANC has now done everything it was supposed to do in the system. The system is still not ready for filing QFRs. So we've done what we needed to do. We're just waiting for them. But I just wanted you all to know. And then Commissioner Prinzo, I'll be sending you this stuff so you can add it to the minutes too.
Thank you. But the QFR emails, the quarterly financial report emails are getting wild, and I really wish they'd get this system up and running. Anyways, thank you for your report. And yes, that's still a significant amount of money. Now, were the things that they were saying were disallowed? We got the payment, right?
The latest QFR payment for the first quarterly financial report for 2024, we have not received it yet. We were waiting for some documents. Well, there were documents from District Bridges that were submitted that needed some edits, and Cassandra has given me the new documents. I have sent them over to the Office of ANC. I think once they review those documents, they'll send us the money over for the first quarterly financial report. But Cassandra very, very quickly responded. This is not on her. This is on Office of ANC.
Yeah, no, I get that. Thank you. And that's that. How much was that payout going to be? Because this is adding to our balances even more.
Right. It changes with the new fiscal year, so I am not sure.
It's okay. I'm not Bob Ward. I'm not.
I know. Well, I mean, wait a minute. I guess I can go and. Sorry.
My point is to Commissioner Nash's earlier kind of question as to like what our budget's looking like. We have a really significant amount of balance in our accounts. So and this money should be back into the community and not garnering interest and just festering. So I think that's where I'm leading with this is that we want to be doing more in terms of like the grants and expenditures. If we can, that makes sense. Obviously, we're not gonna go.
So Commissioner Paggis, the last payout was $5,200. I would guess around the same amount should show up more, and will show up every quarter.
Great, thank you. Any other commissioners have questions or comments on this? Any members of the community wish to weigh in on the treasurer's report? And we don't need to approve anything, right? You just need to announce the expenditure that we
Yeah,
already.
the expenditure, we already approved that, so, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Seeing none, hearing none, we will move on to the final item on the agenda. Commissioner Geis, did you have something to add? Sorry.
No, nothing to add.
You just wanted to do the adjournment, didn't you? Because that's the last item.
See, that was what I was considering doing. However, when you said there was one more item on the agenda, I was like, I
It's
should
that.
laugh. If that were the case, I would like to motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor of adjourning, raise your hand or say aye. Rick, you seem to be, thank you. Okay, everybody is approving that. Have a good night, and thank you all again for your time and work and everything that you do, and hope to see everyone at Cleveland Park Day. So have a good one.
Thank you.